My name is Matt Reardon, and I'm an independent investigative journalist and reporter. On December 6, 2021, I had discovered a key court record in Lafayette County Circuit Court that I fully believe was fraudulently altered. This just so happened to be the second time this has happened over the past year, on two currently open, active filed matters of mine in Circuit Court. When pressing in for answers as to how this could have happened, the Lafayette County Circuit Clerk, Jeff Busby, got highly defensive and told the other clerks not to answer any of my questions. He even acknowledged he had never seen or heard of this happening before. Mr. Busby then communicated out to the Lafayette County Sheriff, Joey East, in order to try to get rid of me due to the newest significant issue discovered and undoubtable issues that would come from the discovery. East's motive in the matter is very clear to see when taking into consideration key facts based upon numerous erroneous and concerning findings that have more recently surfaced regarding the Lafayette County Sheriff's alleged involvement in a matter dating back to 2017. Even more alarming is the fact that the latest record fraudulently altered in Circuit Court that was discovered by me just so happened to be a matter that I was appealing from Lafayette County Justice Court, where East deputies and even himself gave false sworn testimony in order to contrive a conviction based upon lies. The very next day, December 7, 2021, Lafayette County Sheriff Joey East rose to the occasion once again in passing obnoxious lies and complaints centered around constitutionally protected activity as a journalist, reporter, and credentialed member of the press to an employee of Communicare by the name of Rachel Alcorn, with a predisposed plan to exploit the state's mental health laws by cutting corners, ignoring required procedure under state law, and seeking to separate a husband and father of four from his family in a grueling, sickening act that undoubtedly would align with not only the feeling, but the legal definition of human trafficking. And this they were successful in doing, at the expense of both me and my family, when no crimes were ever committed and the entire procedure was botched through and through. At approximately 5 p.m. on December 7, 2021, upon returning home from a doctor's appointment for one of my children, I was taken into custody at my residence in front of my wife and child based upon false claims and a sinister, cowardly attack on an independent journalist in order to suppress the reporting of fraud to not only the public, but the proper authorities for the dishonesty which took place on open legal matters stemming from the Lafayette County Circuit Court and Circuit Clerk's office.
I've got a message for Joey East, for Sheriff Joey East. After a year's time of assisting and trying to make me somebody that I'm not, after 17 police reports over the last 4 or 5 years from Liz Crowder, after the never-ending evidence of criminal conspiracy that has made its way to the surface, after all the time that's been lost, after all the time that I lost with my daughter, all the time that the Sheriff's Department has lost, that they could have helped other people that truly needed assistance, but instead want to continue feeding into the hands of Liz Crowder. Taking more reports that pan out to be more false reports. At some point, refusal to take action would have to make me seriously pose the question of if the Lafayette County Sheriff is a competent position for you to hold. I say that for a reason. Because some way, somehow, regardless of having audio evidence, video evidence, you name it, this county will find a way to try to pin something else but it never ends. They will take whatever lies and bullshit that Liz Crowder comes up with to justify her reason for keeping my 6-year-old child from me, when at the end of the day, the number one reason is to influence ongoing legal proceedings. It's something that it's no new claim. None. She's just dumb enough to continue repeating it. And the sheriff's department is clearly complicit enough to continue taking reports instead of shutting her the hell down.
Joey East. How you doing, sir?
What you doing out here in the parking lot?
I needed to get a little Q&A with you.
I don't do Q&As.
You don't do Q&As?
No.
Well, can you answer a few questions for me?
No, I can't.
Why is the county not wanting to comply on the public records request? You told me
You probably have to ask the county, man.
you told me that if I submitted it, y'all would comply. That was the last time that we
No.
spoke.
I told you we'd look at it. It's been
You
sent.
said no. You said that we'll comply. You said submit it and we'll comply. Why haven't I gotten?
Matthew.
Why haven't I gotten the? Really, Sheriff, is this really the position you're going to take? Why won't you even
I don't
answer
do
that?
ambushes, so.
Look, hey, y'all will not respond to anything, any email, any public records request, anything. I want to know why. I am holding our county officials accountable for this. You know I was framed. We've already had that discussion,
You
Joey.
plead guilty?
You know I was framed.
You need to plead guilty?
Huh? That was one of your ringleaders
Did
right
you
there.
plead guilty, Matt?
That was one of your ringleaders right there.
Matt, did you plead guilty?
You know that y'all coerced me.
Did you plead guilty?
Y'all coerced me under stress and used my daughter.
I did?
Yeah, y'all twist. No, the Tannehills did. Is who really did it.
Let me ask you something. Did you plead guilty? Did you plead guilty?
I followed
That's
the
a fair
sham
question to ride
advice.
with the outlaw.
Okay, well,
Did
hey,
you plead guilty?
why are y'all trying to protect? Who are you trying to protect? Is it that
Nobody.
there's no call that came in, or is it that there's somebody like Robin Tannehill or Ray Tannehill that's on that call? I want to know.
Did you plead guilty?
Who's on the call?
Did you have an attorney? And did you
Who's
plead
on the
guilty?
call?
I don't
Was
know
there a
what
call
you're talking
or was
about,
there not a
man.
call?
I don't know what call
It was,
you're talking
but it
about.
was on the police report
think
that I
you
got
probably
from May
need to go-
30th.
Whatever medicine you're off, I think you need to go
Really?
take some medicine or something.
Really?
Because I don't understand what you're talking about.
The response of the
And you
sheriff.
pled guilty.
The response of the sheriff.
This is Matt Reardon, and I'm standing over here at the Lafayette County Sheriff's Department. Wednesday, February 9th, I came up here to the Sheriff's Department to inquire on a couple of matters. First one being the Lafayette County Law Enforcement Officers Association, co-founded by Sheriff Joey East and Deputy Sheriff Scott Mills. This 501c3 nonprofit organization has been in business for approximately 20 years. I asked for the financial reports, the financial data on this nonprofit organization just to check it for erroneous errors and make sure that there is no funny business going on among the local law enforcement here in Oxford, Mississippi, particularly Sheriff Joey East. Approximately 2:45 in the afternoon was whenever I came up here on the 9th. Spoke to Joey East and Scott Mills. I was told it would take about approximately a week and a half to get those records. However, the following day, I was again committed by Communicare, who I've been told that Sheriff Joey East has familial ties with. I think the Lafayette County Sheriff has a couple of questions that he needs to answer. A little bit more than a coincidence that on two separate occasions, the day after certain information is sought, I end up getting committed, courtesy of Communicare.
December 28th, when I came up here, when I got thrown on the ground. I came up here because I sent you multiple emails about Liz Crowder filing false affidavits in court. That's it. The statute is filing a false instrument, and it falls under that. I know that the court, ultimately it's up to them to hit her with perjury, but there are crimes that she's steadily committing. I mean, a year I went without seeing my daughter. She's back at it again. She's back at it again because you guys keep enabling. You feed into it. You take a report. That's why there's so many reports on me, like 17 just over the last 4 years. I mean, when's it going to stop? And what about the email, May 26th? That you sent out, May 26, 2017, you sent out to the mayor about the new proposed gun laws in Oxford. You were pushing to change. Isn't that a coincidence? The day that I get ambushed in Oxford, you sent an email out. No, it's not okay. If we're going to look at conspiracy as in a plot between two or more people, then yes. If we're talking about conspiracy from a standpoint of hocus pocus, just making stuff up, no. You sent an email that it's on the internet. It was on the internet because it was part of the agenda that was published on June 6th. I was supposed to speak right after you. After you spoke, you came back at the end of the meeting because there were 2 bullet points where you were supposed to discuss the new proposed gun laws in Oxford. And I think it's a coincidence that May 26th, the day everything happened, nobody ever wanted to look into Todd Lynch and the threat that he made, calling for the community to come together to do something about Matt Reardon. But, you know, my kids have been directly affected by this. I lost 4 houses over the last 4 years. It's not fair for me to be carrying around a fake tag, a felon and stalker, knowing that not only did I not commit the crime, but it was an impossibility to have been committed. Impossibility.
Matt, let me say this. I appreciate the point. Don't come back in the camera.
On November 4th, 2021, Affiant went to trial for 9 separate charges placed against him by Lafayette County Sheriff's Department and his ex, Phyllis Liz Crowder. 2 of the 9 charges came from a situation resulting in an alleged disorderly conduct and resisting arrest. December 27, 2020. December 27, 2020, an email was sent to Sheriff East with criminal conspiracy in the subject line, reporting alleged crimes involving the harboring and exploitation of Affiant's firstborn child, LER, which was opened approximately 2 hours later by the sheriff. An investigation and assistance in stopping it was requested, yet no response came from Sheriff East, and this is the sole reason that brought Affiant to the Sheriff's Department, seeking assistance of the sheriff due to the alleged crimes continuing to be committed. Affiant claims the complaints alleged were ill-brought, retaliatory, and relied upon mob domination and the knowing use and introduction of perjured testimony by Lafayette County Sheriff's Department, in particular Deputies Dixon and Tidwell, and that both perjurious and defamatory statements were given under oath by the Lafayette County Sheriff Joey East. Affiant attests that a sloppy, inconsistent investigation attributed to 3 of the 9 charges alleged by Deputies Beavers and Williford, and that evidence was never properly preserved by the Lafayette County Sheriff's Department for the purposes of trial. On December 3, 2021, Affiant filed a cover page in motion seeking complete dismissal of conviction rendered and citing well-cited and established federal and state law supporting his position that his due process rights had again been violated by the county, and that the new convictions must be set aside. On December 6, 2021, Affiant had discovered that the assigned judge, Kent Smith, had once again been changed in the system to reflect John Kelly Luther. In a non-threatening way, non-accusatory way, Affiant simply tried to get an understanding of where or who could be responsible for this important record supposedly randomly assigned via algorithm changing. Circuit Court Clerk Jeff Busby got highly defensive and advised China Snervo to not answer any of Affiant's questions when Affiant was simply fulfilling his civil duty in petitioning the government for redress of a major grievance. At this time, Busby gets on his cell phone and presumably contacts Sheriff Joey East, who within approximately 5 minutes' time is captured on video pulling up, getting out of his car, and telling Affiant to not go back into circuit court unless he had something to file, because he was disturbing their business. The following day, December 7, 2021, East reported to Communicare employee Rachel Alcorn knowingly false and damning statements in order to get Communicare to seek judicial commitment of affiant based on the lies given. The affidavit is approved and signed off by Judge Lawrence Little, and immediately after, 2 deputies go on the hunt to find and take the affiant into custody on the newly signed writ. This happened shortly after, as affiant, his wife, and stepdaughter arrive home and is captured on video. Affiant states the judicial commitment was fraudulent, stemmed from false information reported by the Lafayette County Sheriff's Department, in particular its Sheriff, Joey East, in order to cover up a matter of concern which affiant was seeking answers to, and that this particularly filed matter in circuit court is a matter of interest to the Lafayette County Sheriff, adding motive behind the highly immoral move involving the communication of lies to Alcorn. This was a dangerous attack on the freedoms and liberties of a private citizen and a member of the press during the commission of constitutionally protected activity. Sheriff Joseph B. East, you are alleged to be in violation of your oath of office, the national and state constitutions, and in clear violation of the following laws and statutes. Number 1, Section 802 of the Patriot Act, which clearly defines a domestic terrorist. 2, Title 4, U.S. Code 101, oath by members of legislatures and officers. 3, 18 U.S. Code 241, conspiracy against rights. 4, 18 U.S. Code 242, deprivation of rights under color of law. 5, 18 U.S. Code 1038, false information and hoaxes. 6, 18 U.S. Code 1001, statements or entries generally. 7, 18 U.S. Code 1503, influencing or injuring officer or juror generally. 8, 18 U.S. Code 1512b, engages in misleading conduct. 9, 18 U.S. Code 2071, concealment, removal, or mutilation generally. 10, 26 U.S. Code 7214, offenses by officers and employees of the United States. 11, 42 U.S. Code 1983, civil rights action for deprivation of rights. 12, 42 U.S. Code 1985, conspiracy to interfere with civil rights. 13, 42 U.S. Code 2000A, Civil Rights Act of 1871. 14, 42 U.S. Code 1986, action for neglect to prevent. Section 802 of the USA Patriot Act expanded the definition of terrorism to cover domestic, as opposed to international terrorism. A person engages in domestic terrorism if they do an act dangerous to human life that is a violation of the criminal laws of a state and or of the United States, if the act appears to be intended to intimidate, coerce a civilian population, or number 2, influence the policy of a government by intimidation or coercion. Lastly, current policing, fining,